All right, so let's get into this deep dive. And we are talking all about Crystal Lake, Illinois commercial real estate. So we're working with some pretty cool information here from Michael Linton. He's a commercial real estate broker, and he's got a ton of experience in the Chicago market. And get this, he's a Crystal Lake Central High School grad, class of '82. Talk about local knowledge, right? And if you want to check out some more of Michael's insights, his website is chicagodealflow.com. So you might be thinking, okay, Crystal Lake sounds pretty, but what's the big deal? Well, it's emerging as like a serious hotspot in the Chicago suburbs when it comes to commercial real estate. And we're going to find out exactly why.
What's interesting is that Crystal Lake, it isn't just some sleepy suburb. It's got this strategic location that's like super attractive to businesses.
Okay, so location, right? But give me the specifics. What makes Crystal Lake so strategically placed?
Well, it's about 50 miles northwest of downtown Chicago, which means it's within commuting distance for a lot of people. But here's the thing. It also has great access to major highways and transportation routes. So that means businesses in Crystal Lake can easily connect with the city and other key suburban markets. It's like a sweet spot.
So it's not like stuck out in the boonies,
Yeah.
but it's also not like right in the thick of like the city's craziness. It's kind of like a best of both worlds situation.
Exactly. And, Michael being a local, he understands how this dynamic plays out in Crystal Lake's favor. It's a big reason why the population's been growing steadily. More people means more demand for businesses, which is great news for anyone looking at commercial real estate there.
Ah, so it's like a domino effect. Location attracts residents. Residents need services and businesses, and bam, that fuels the need for different types of commercial properties.
Precisely. And it's not just any kind of business that's attracted to Crystal Lake. It's got a really diverse economy with a good mix of industries, manufacturing, healthcare, tech, you name it. This is important for commercial real estate because it means the market isn't overly reliant on any one sector.
That diversification makes a lot of sense. It's like spreading the risk, right? So even if one industry hits a rough patch, the others can help keep the market stable.
Right. And Michael, in his analysis on chicagodealflow.com, he highlights how Crystal Lake offers a high quality of life too. Think good schools, parks, a bustling downtown with that small town vibe. It's the kind of place that attracts businesses and talent, which is a win-win for commercial real estate.
Okay, so we've got location, a growing population, a diverse economy, and that desirable quality of life. What about room for growth? Can Crystal Lake actually expand its commercial real estate offerings?
Absolutely. Crystal Lake has a ton of potential for both brand new development and redevelopment projects. This is key for investors and developers looking to get in on the ground floor, so to speak, and shape the city's commercial future.
So it's not just about buying into what's already there. It's about being a part of what Crystal Lake is becoming.
Exactly. Now, Michael, in his work, he breaks down the commercial real estate scene in Crystal Lake into 4 main sectors: retail, office space, industrial and warehouse, and mixed-use developments. Let's start with retail. Crystal Lake has this interesting mix of big box stores and local boutiques, which means there's something for everyone.
I like that. It's catering to different needs and preferences. Where are the main retail hubs in Crystal Lake?
2 areas stand out: Crystal Lake Plaza and the Route 14 corridor. Crystal Lake Plaza is a classic outdoor mall with a mix of national chains and local businesses. Think of it as your one-stop shop for everything, from clothes to groceries.
Classic suburban mall experience.
Got it.
What about the Route 14 corridor?
Well, Route 14 is a major road with lots of traffic, which is retail gold. It's lined with all sorts of stores, strip malls, restaurants, you name it. That constant flow of potential customers is a big draw for businesses.
High visibility, lots of eyeballs make sense for retail. Let's shift gears to office space. What's the scene like in Crystal Lake? What kind of businesses are setting up shop there?
It's actually a pretty diverse mix. You've got small local firms, but also larger corporations, all finding their place in Crystal Lake's office market. It's not just one type of business driving the demand.
Interesting. And where are they finding these office spaces? Are there any specific areas that are popular?
Downtown Crystal Lake is a big one. Businesses love the blend of historic charm and modern amenities you find there. You've got these beautiful old buildings that have been renovated into modern office spaces, all within a walkable downtown area.
That mix of old and new is always a good combo. It adds character. What other areas are attracting office development in Crystal Lake?
Keep an eye on the Congress Parkway area. It's emerging as a spot for new office development. Plus, it's got those scenic views, which I'm sure businesses appreciate.
It's like getting the best of both worlds. A great business environment with a touch of natural beauty. Now let's talk industrial and warehouse space. Why is that sector experiencing growth in Crystal Lake?
Think back to what we talked about earlier, location and transportation. Crystal Lake's strategic location and its easy access to major roads and highways are crucial for businesses involved in manufacturing, logistics, and distribution. They need to move goods efficiently, and Crystal Lake makes that happen.
So it's all about efficiency and easy access to those major routes.
Hmm.
Makes sense. Where are the main industrial hubs in Crystal Lake?
You've got the Crystal Lake Industrial Park, which has a lot of light industrial and warehouse facilities. Then there's the Route 31 corridor, which is becoming a hot spot for new industrial developments.
Sounds like there's a lot brewing in that sector. Now let's talk mixed-use developments. They're popping up all over the suburbs these days. What's Crystal Lake doing in that arena?
Crystal Lake is definitely embracing the mixed-use trend. There's a big focus on redevelopment projects that bring retail, office, and residential spaces all together. It's all about creating these vibrant, walkable areas where people can live, work, and play without having to hop in their cars for every little thing.
I love that concept. It builds community and makes life more convenient. Where are we seeing these mixed-use projects happening in Crystal Lake?
They're popping up in a few different areas, often as part of revitalization efforts. Think about an older part of town that maybe needs a little TLC. A mixed-use development can breathe new life into those areas and make them more appealing to modern lifestyles.
It's like taking something old and making it new again, but in a way that benefits everyone. Okay, so we've got a good handle on the main commercial real estate sectors in Crystal Lake, but let's zoom out a bit. What are the bigger market trends that are shaping the landscape and creating opportunities?
Well, we can't talk about trends without mentioning e-commerce. It's completely changing the game for retail properties.
It's true. Brick-and-mortar stores can't just rely on foot traffic anymore. They need to offer something more, something that you can't get online. What's the solution?
It's all about creating experiences. Think restaurants, entertainment venues, interactive displays, anything that makes going to a store an event, not just a shopping trip. This is what we call experiential retail. And it's crucial for attracting customers in today's world.
So it's not just about buying a product. It's about buying an experience. How does this experiential retail trend play out in Crystal Lake specifically?
Well, think about a property that combines a bookstore with a cozy cafe. People can browse, relax, have a coffee, and attend author readings. Or imagine a sporting goods store with an indoor climbing wall or a golf simulator. These kinds of places become destinations, not just stores.
That's a great example. It's about creating a place where people want to hang out, not just buy stuff and leave.
Exactly. And then there's the flip side of e-commerce, the need for last-mile distribution centers. These are strategically located warehouses that help businesses get products to their customers quickly.
Right, because speed is everything in online shopping these days. You order something and you want it like yesterday. How does Crystal Lake fit into this last-mile distribution picture?
Perfectly, actually. Remember, it's great location and access to transportation. That's exactly what these distribution centers need to be successful. They need to be close to major highways and transportation hubs to ensure quick and efficient delivery.
So Crystal Lake's strengths are playing right into this growing trend. That's smart. Okay, what other trends are impacting the commercial real estate scene in Crystal Lake?
Another big one is the rise of flex spaces. This is about creating versatile spaces that can adapt to a business's changing needs.
So not your typical office or warehouse setup.
Exactly. Imagine a space that can be used as an office one day, a showroom the next, and maybe even a light manufacturing facility the day after that. It's all about flexibility and adaptability.
So it's about future-proofing your investment in a way. You don't know what the future holds. So having a space that can morph and change is a smart move.
Right. And this is especially relevant in Crystal Lake, which is attracting a really diverse range of businesses. Some businesses might need a traditional office, but others might need something more flexible. Crystal Lake can cater to both.
That makes it more attractive to a wider range of potential tenants.
Smart. Okay, we've got experiential retail, last-mile distribution centers, and flex spaces. What else is shaping the market?
Another trend we need to talk about is suburban migration. More and more people and businesses are leaving the hustle and bustle of big cities and heading for the suburbs.
It's like people are craving more space, a slower pace of life, and a better cost of living.
Exactly. And they're not willing to sacrifice convenience or access to amenities. They still want to be close to good schools, restaurants, shops, and entertainment options.
And Crystal Lake checks all those boxes, right?
It does. It's got that suburban charm, the high quality of life, but it's also close enough to Chicago that people can still easily access the city. So it's positioned to really benefit from this suburban migration trend. Okay, one last trend to cover. Sustainability. How is that impacting commercial real estate in Crystal Lake?
Sustainability is huge right now, and for good reason. We're seeing a growing demand for green buildings and sustainable development practices in Crystal Lake. Businesses and residents want buildings that are not only aesthetically pleasing, but also environmentally responsible.
So what does that look like in practice?
It can range from using energy-efficient building materials and incorporating renewable energy sources to designing green spaces and promoting eco-friendly transportation options.
So it's about taking a holistic approach to development, considering the environmental impact of every decision.
Exactly. And Crystal Lake seems to be on board with this. Developers are incorporating sustainable features into their projects, and businesses are seeking out eco-friendly spaces.
It's good to hear that Crystal Lake is keeping pace with this important trend. Now, for our listeners who are starting to get really intrigued by Crystal Lake's potential and might be thinking, hey, maybe I should invest there, or maybe I should move my business there, what advice would you give them? How can they make smart decisions in this market?
Well, Michael, he always emphasizes the importance of local knowledge. Crystal Lake might be part of the larger Chicago market, but it's got its own little quirks and characteristics. Partnering with someone who truly understands the ins and outs of the local market, like Michael himself, can make all the difference.
Makes sense. It's like having a guide who can help you navigate the terrain, avoid pitfalls and spot opportunities that you might miss on your own. What else should people keep in mind when looking at Crystal Lake?
Zoning is key. Before you do anything, familiarize yourself with local zoning regulations and development plans. What's allowed in one part of town might not be allowed in another. Doing your homework up front can save you a lot of headaches down the road.
So don't just assume you can build or do whatever you want. You need to understand the rules of the game. What else is important?
Demographics. Take the time to really analyze the demographic trends in Crystal Lake. Who lives there? What are their needs? What kind of businesses are missing?
It's about understanding your target audience right. If you're thinking about opening a business, you need to know if there's actually a demand for it in that specific market.
Exactly. And don't forget about infrastructure. Keep an eye on any planned infrastructure improvements like new roads, highway interchanges, or public transportation expansions. These things can have a big impact on property values and development potential.
It's about anticipating growth and getting ahead of the curve. If you know that a certain area is going to become more accessible or desirable, that's valuable information.
Right. And finally, don't be afraid to shop around. Compare Crystal Lake to other Chicago suburbs. Look at pricing, vacancy rates, rental income potential, and other key metrics. It's all about finding the best fit for your investment goals or your business needs.
It's like comparing apples to apples before you make a decision. Solid advice. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty of Crystal Lake's commercial real estate market to the broader trends shaping its future. What are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the big picture here is that Crystal Lake is a dynamic and growing market. It's got this unique combination of factors: strategic location, a diverse economy, a high quality of life, and a focus on sustainability that make it really attractive to both businesses and investors.
And it's not just a one-size-fits-all market. There are opportunities across all sorts of sectors, from retail and office space to industrial and mixed-use developments.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that Crystal Lake isn't just about numbers and data points. It's a place with a real sense of community, a place where people are proud to live and work. And that's something you can't quantify, but it's definitely a valuable asset.
It's like the X factor, the intangible something that makes a place special. And for anyone who wants to learn more about Crystal Lake or tap into that local expertise we were talking about, they can head over to chicagodealflow.com and connect with Michael Linton.
Absolutely. He's a wealth of knowledge about the Chicago market and Crystal Lake in particular. His insights can be incredibly valuable for anyone looking to make smart decisions in this market.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into Crystal Lake, we want to leave you with one final thought. Imagine you're starting a business today. What kind of business do you think would thrive in Crystal Lake, taking into account all the trends and opportunities we've talked about?
What kind of business would capitalize on that suburban migration, on the desire for experiences and convenience, on the growing focus on sustainability? It's a fun question to ponder. And who knows, maybe it'll spark an idea that leads to something amazing.
That's what we love about these deep dives. It's not just about learning, it's about inspiring. Thanks for joining us on this journey to Crystal Lake. And until next time, keep diving deep.